Dobrodošli u još jednu epizodu podcasta Mogućnosti. Moje ime je Filip Lukić i u ovoj epizodi razgovaramo o nečemu što se pre svega odnosi na vladavinu prava, na pravosuđe, ali i borbu protiv organizovanog kriminala i korupcije. U pitanju je EUROJUST, ali i projekat koji se odnosi na krivično pravosuđe kada je reč o samoj Srbiji. Srbija je inače u procesu pregovora o pristupanju Evropskoj uniji. Poglavlje 23 i 24 jesu osnovna poglavlja i zapravo nema napretka u pregovorima, sve dok nema napretka i u ovim poglavljima i ovim oblastima. Moji današnji sagovornici dolaze iz EUROJUST-a, ali i iz projekta koji se upravo bavi krivičnim pravosuđem na Zapadnom Balkanu. Sa mnom su tu Lukaš Stari and Laura Ferioli. Thank you for joining me today here at the podcast. And I would like to start. I did a brief introduction about the EUROJUST and the project, but let's start with EUROJUST. So, what's the EUROJUST and how it functions?
Thank you. First of all, thank you very much for inviting EUROJUST to your podcast. I'm very happy to provide you with general idea what EUROJUST is about. EUROJUST is the European Union agency with a history for more than 20 years, residing in The Hague in the Netherlands. And the objective of EUROJUST for those more than 20 years has always been to support and coordinate competent authorities, primarily of EU member states, but also non-EU member states, when they are confronted with a need to fight, investigate and prosecute serious cross-border organized crime, including terrorism. You know that within the European Union there are no internal borders, so people, goods and others can travel freely. This, however, involves also criminals and illegal assets. So, in a nutshell, EUROJUST's role is to support to overcome potential difficulties which they are existing when it comes to need to obtain evidence from abroad. There are certain rules which need to be followed when the evidence is collected abroad, and the role of EUROJUST is to assist to support and to overcome those difficulties.
It must be super complex, I guess.
In some situation, indeed, super complex. Mostly it's complex. Sometimes indeed super complex.
Because we have many member states plus non-EU members.
Exactly.
So coordination, everything. I guess it's very challenging sometimes.
So just imagine there are 27 EU member states, plus currently 13 non-EU member states represented in one building at EUROJUST. Those representatives know their legal systems. They know the practices adopted and used in their countries of their origin. And basically the idea of EUROJUST is quite simple: to bring those people, practitioners to EUROJUST, to enable them to work under one roof, establish certain level of trust. So for me, as a representative of Czechia at EUROJUST, it's very simple to obtain information and try to ask assistance from Serbia, as the Serbian colleague is present at EUROJUST in the very same way as the prosecutors from Germany or other EU member states. And you have addressed the issue of accessing Serbia to the European Union. And I can tell you, when it comes to EUROJUST, actually Serbia already accessed the European Union. Because
it's nice to hear.
Yeah, the level of service which is provided to Serbia by EUROJUST is the same, basically.
But how do you handle these different levels of legal systems, knowledge, expertise? Is that difficult to somehow handle on a daily basis?
Yes and no. It's important that if dealing with a case, issue, problem, you need to know. You need to get information, and this is the first and most important added value which EUROJUST disposes with. There is the hub of legal practices, information from all the EU member states and 13 non-EU member states. So if I need assistance from, for example, Italy, I visit my Italian colleague, describe him my problem which prosecutor in Czechia is confronted with, ask him for assistance, and I simply need to refer back to the level of trust. I simply trust my Italian colleague that he will explain me what under Italian law and practices can be offered to the needs of the Czech Republic. Now, when I see what is possible, what is not, I can discuss the difficulty back with the prosecutor in Czechia. And knowing what the options are, we can also adjust our anticipations when it comes again to obtain evidence, assistance, in that case, from Italy. So,
yeah, also sounds interesting, I would say. Yes, and then we go to the Western Balkans, and the whole region is a part of this project which refers to criminal justice. And how does that project basically complement the practice of Eurojustice?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for the invitation and for giving me the opportunity to present the Western Balkan project to the Serbian public. How does the project complement the mandate of Eurojust? It's very simple. Our goal is basically replicating the Eurojust model in the Western Balkan region. So concretely, this means that we support and we provide coordination and support to cross-border investigations among Western Balkan partners. So investigations that do not necessarily involve a EU member state. So we have established what we call a contact group of prosecutors of the region that are tasked with coming together and discussing cross-border cases that affect the region. Going into more concretely, what we practically do is we, through the contact group that channel the requests for support to the project, we are able to provide, for example, financial support to coordination meetings among prosecutors of the region. So meaning the costs associated with their travel, accommodation, interpretation, which is very important when they do not speak the same language, translation of evidence, for example, purchase of equipment, everything that is needed in the context of a very time-consuming and expensive investigation.
How does it work in practice? Because we know that cooperation is not one of the biggest advantages of the region. I mean, does it work in practice very well?
But this is. It's gaining traction, so to speak, and this is the reason why the project was created, to promote and to somehow show the EU experience and best practices developed at Eurojust through the cooperation tools developed at Eurojust to promote those tools in the Western Balkan regions for the benefit of the Western Balkan judicial authorities.
So basically to copy the good practice from the European Union.
Yes, we can say that. Yes.
And when it comes to the Eurojust, but also to the project, I would like to hear more how does it work within concrete examples. We all love to watch criminal series and everything, so I know there is one FBI International based in Budapest, and it deals with Europol and these kind of things. So how does it work in practice? Is there any interesting example that you could share with us?
Exactly like in the movies, right?
Yeah.
No.
Going from one corner of the building to the other, obtaining information, calling your colleague.
Basically, I have actually partially already responded your question in my previous initial intervention. So Eurojust deals annually with nearly 13,000 cases. It might be hypothetical case, which I actually used also for the panel discussion, which took place in that building today. Imagine investigation into drug trafficking, criminals maybe originating from Serbia, residing in Serbia, trafficking drugs to Czechia and Germany. Hypothetical situation. You have parallel investigations. If I am requested for assistance by a prosecutor in Czechia asking me for assistance, first to find out what are the investigations in Germany and Serbia, what is their objectives, trying to coordinate perhaps some actions, not to jeopardize those investigations by actions in Czechia. If I get such requests from Czechia, I knock on the door of my colleagues from Serbia and Germany at Eurojust, describing them the problem and trying to find out what the state of play of those investigations are. I can easily find out that those investigations are in progress state, that the prosecutors in those countries are actually facing the same dilemmas, same problems as the Czech prosecutor, and we can easily come in direct consultation with colleagues from those countries at Eurojust that it might be best to address those problems when enabling the ones who are responsible for investigations, namely the prosecutors from those three countries and police officers, to come perhaps to The Hague and to discuss their problems in person. Eurojust, for that reason, arranges coordination meeting, covers the cost of those meetings, provides for simultaneous interpretation, simply arranges for very comfortable situation and of those attending those meetings. And through the discussion, the aim is to achieve common understanding and agreement as how to progress with the case. The case might progress in coordinated action to arrest suspects, to conduct house searches, seize bank accounts, ideally on the very same day. To do so, you need extensive preparation. This is again the role of Eurojust to arrange that all the legal requirements are met in order to really proceed on the very same day with actions, and also trying to coordinate all those actions on the day of the action day. So those are just examples of how Eurojust assists in concrete investigations.
And when we go back to the regional level, how does that work, or how does it look in the Western Balkans? So do you have any concrete example that you could share?
Bear in mind that the project is only facilitating the authorities. We don't have any insight into the cases themselves because we are just a facilitator, and I couldn't tell you an example from a specific case.
Mm-hmm. I understand, but for example, what kind of support did Serbia get from the project, or other countries in the region? Maybe what's the not the outcome, but maybe something that is important that you have seen that came out from the project.
For sure, I can tell you, for example, that the project supported already more than 26 Serbian prosecutors or police officers that needed to travel to Eurojust, to The Hague, to coordinate complex cases of drug trafficking, for example, or cybercrime with their EU colleagues. So the project took care of that. Moreover, we are also supporting a joint investigation between Serbia and North Macedonia, which is ongoing. And we have also facilitated the participation of more than 50 Serbian prosecutors and police officers in Eurojust activities, thematic conferences, meetings of the EU-supported networks of practitioners, because this is another objective of the project, to integrate the practitioners and prosecutors from the Western Balkan region into the EU network of practitioners to enable the sharing of experiences and the know-how, so to speak.
Basically building the capacity in the
yes,
region.
And the sharing the knowledge, indeed.
Mm-hmm. And maybe at the end, I would like to ask you both, what do you see, because this is a podcast about opportunities that EU accession process offers to Serbia. What do you see in this regard when it comes to your project and also to Eurojust? What is the biggest opportunity for Serbia, but also for the Western Balkans region?
Well, I think the participation in the project and the continuous cooperation that Serbia already has through their liaison prosecutor in Eurojust will inevitably goes in the direction of improving the coordination and the handling also at the end of the day of the national proceedings through the help of other states. And then, of course, the ultimate goal is completing the national investigation, each country in their own country, and to get trials finalized and justice done in these very complex cases, I would say.
I would say that presence of Serbia at Eurojust, an active role which Serbia plays within Eurojust, gives a strong message. Since Eurojust, being considered a trustworthy partner at Eurojust in the realm of international judicial cooperation, it's a certain message given by Serbia that this country means its fight against serious organized crime seriously. And in that respect, I would really understand very positively the role which Eurojust and Serbia plays in the international cooperation supported by Eurojust.
Because we, at the end, share the
exactly
goal together to have more secure Europe, and Serbia definitely wants to be part of that secured Europe. Thank you very much for your time. Hvala i vama na pažnji. Bila je ova epizoda o tome na koji način Srbija učestvuje kao deo Eurojusta, ali takođe i na koji način zajedno sa drugim državama u regionu radi na sprečavanju organizovanog kriminala, ali i svih drugih oblika kriminala. Hvala vam na pažnji.